Hey team, what's up? This is Joe Mill here with Killer Miller Q. We back, we live for another good cook. We pulling out the old Weber grill. I'm gonna be showing you how to break down these spare ribs. Get yourself a nice St. Louis rack along with some rib tips. Let's go. Alright, cut the music. We are here and you see what we're working with. Pretty much this is the complete spare. We're about to break this down to a St. Louis rack and we're going to end up with some rib tips as you just saw. But first and foremost, it's almost 5 pounds. I want you to take a look at this whole thing whole and we're going to show you how the magic happens. Normally when you start with a whole spare, you might actually find this a little bit cheaper than your St. Louis cut. They always charge you to go ahead and cut this stuff. So if you can figure some of this butchering out for yourself, you can save yourself a buck or two. So pretty much you look at it here, we got some good looking marbling and everything in here. I got a feeling we got us a beautiful looking rack. This is just from my local butcher, or I mean my local grocery store, so nothing special here, but it looked pretty good, so I wanted to grab it. And I was looking for a full-size spare out here as well. I'll be cleaning off a little bit of this fat. Basically what we're going to be ending up doing is squaring this down into a smaller rectangle and knocking off this top. Let's flip it over and give you a chance to see what else is under here. Hopefully I don't mess up everything. A lot of good meat. There, you look at that. That yanked right off of there. Needless to say, we're going to get rid of any of them big globules of fat. I'm going to start working on it right now, kind of while I'm going through, and you'll get to see some of this. We don't got to do a ton for the cleanup. Just knocking off some of this extra fat. Normally, if I'm just getting like the St. Louis rack, there's pretty much no work to be done, but just since it's already a full spare, you'll notice a lot of this little stuff, and it comes off easy. It's already left for you, so I'll knock off some of this excess fat so it's not still there to falling all off into my Weber. We'll just pull on some of that back and trim that right off of there. We're going to be getting rid of this membrane, like always, which is going to be pretty easy. I just need to grab me a tissue. And then you kind of notice as we get down to the end, this doesn't even have any bone in it right here. Great meat though. We're going to be cutting some of that off to kind of make this more square and even. What I like to usually do is that you can kind of almost feel a small bone here, a knuckle, and then that's pretty much like a full first bone. I'm going to pretty much start that cut just about right there. Let's see if we can start the square off process. And don't you worry, none of this is going to waste. This is a good meat right here. Usually that ends up being some of the stuff once you break this apart that'll end up cooking a little bit faster, and it'll give me a little something to taste while I'm kind of working my way through this thing. And all I'm doing is picking away some of these bigger bits. I'm about to grab me a napkin and we'll get rid of this membrane right over here. Give me one sec. Alright, so getting this membrane, let's see if I can get lucky while I'm on camera. Usually it's not too bad. I'm usually going to go towards one of these edges where I can kind of see it starting to peel back a little bit. Just like that. With this napkin, I'm going to pinch and I'm going to start to pull. And you can start to see it already coming back. And then it's almost like anything else. You kind of got to get it evened up so we don't get too much of an uneven pull. And then that's the secret of being able to more or less get this thing to pull off evenly. I'm trying hard not to shake you guys up too much because you're hanging from my top camera, so I'm going to be a little more delicate than I normally would. There we go. You see most of that came off, just like that. And then all I'm going to do, so that's what we want to get rid of. Now you can score this membrane. Some people like to leave it all together. And if you score it pretty well, by the time we get done cooking it, it'll pretty much be gone. I like to just take it off of there. If I'm doing beef ribs or something, I keep it on to kind of hold my ribs together. But on my pork, I like it being not even there. You know, once I kind of figured that out, and I remember back a lot of times tasting ribs that had it on there, and that was always that piece that it got a lot of seasoning on it, but you never did quite be able to bite through it. And just have you over there just kind of biting and chewing for a while, and eventually you just end up tossing it. Okay, so that's pretty decent. The next thing that I'm gonna do, this right here, we're gonna be cutting back that flap, which is pretty much like your skirt steak. Get that out. Again, good meat. It also has a little bit of that membrane on the back of it. So I usually even pull that off as well. You see that little bit of a membrane right there? I'll get to that too. Just like that. The napkin's coming all off. And pull that out. Look at that tender meat. It's tearing right off. Get rid of some more of that membrane. Toss that over there to the side. This again goes over here to my good eating pile. Now if you wanted, you could save that meat and be able to use it for like grinding down for different things and stuff like that. Like I said, today we're gonna be doing some rib tips, so we got plans for it. And these gonna be a lot better than the rib tips that you normally get at the store where it's all fat. These gonna actually have a little bit of meat on them. So all I'm finna do now is I'm going to clean off a little bit more of this fat. I won't bore you too much with that. And here they go, flip back over. My phone's overheating, so we're gonna have to break this down into some more segments, more or less. But you pretty much see I went ahead and took off one last little bone that was there, a little small one, so we're a little bit more squared off. I am gonna get rid of a little bit of this fat there and a little bit of that fat there. But the next cut I'm about to make is gonna be diagonal, and it'll be getting off this hard piece here, which is all bone. We'll be cutting that off, and then from there, this is all good meat here at the top. And we're pretty much gonna be going from the top of the knuckle straight over to make this a nice square or nice pretty rectangle. So let me get rid of these couple little bit of flaps, and then let me chop that one off, and I'll bring you back to take a look before we make our final cuts. All right, knock down just a little bit of it. Didn't want to gouge too deep into it, so I don't want to go too crazy. I'm just knocking off a little bit so it's not so much to drop off into my smoke or my kettle. But then also we went ahead and took that first cut from this bone piece right here. Great meat on here. Great meat on here. So needless to say, we'll be getting into this, and my dog will finish that off. So now we got this whole sideways cut going, and then pretty much now, as you can kind of see it starting to come into form, all I'm gonna go ahead and do is trim this right off of the top and give me a straight rectangle over, and we're gonna have our St. Louis. I put it back together so you can get an idea exactly what happened. All right, we got rid of this. This is that big bone on the side. Remember, none of this is going to the waist. That's gonna be our rib tips in the end. From there, we went ahead and squared off the top. This beautiful slab of meat right here is where we're gonna get the best pieces of this rib tips. And then, just to kind of make everything a little bit more symmetrical, go ahead and tune back in there. There we go. I got rid of this last little bone right here, just because it was a little bit angled, right? Throw that out of there. And now, it's not absolutely perfect, but at the end of the day, not too bad. There's our St. Louis cut right there. That's gonna be my pretty little presentation. And all of that, I'm gonna cook it more or less together. And then I'll be chopping it up, throwing it in there with some sauce, and then mixing it around. Those are gonna be our rib tips that we're gonna make right there. Good and meaty, believe that. Look at all that good meat we're gonna have on there. Like I said, this will not be like your normal restaurant rib tips that you might get that's all fat. These right here is gonna be some good eating. These might be better than the actual ribs themselves. Okay, so we got that, and we got that. I'm not worried about too much of a binder today. We're gonna have plenty of time to let these babies sweat out. Let me go grab the star of the show. All right, I went and grabbed the star of the show, which is gonna be the seasoning and rub combo we working with, or a sauce combo we working with today. Went with somebody that's a local restaurant that I've went to, and I don't know if they're necessarily nationwide, but I know they're in a lot of different states, basically being at Famous Dave's. Love this seasoning on ribs. Basically, I'm gonna be doing a combination today on some Famous Dave's rib rub, along with some of their sauce, and I went with their regular sauce that's rich and sassy. Every one of them sauces is great. I like the sweet and zesty one, but that one's kind of got more of a tang to it, a little bit more vinegar. This one here is Kansas City style, so it's a good red sauce, nice rich flavor. That's what we're gonna be going with. So I'm about to start the seasoning process on all of this, babies, right here. We're gonna let them hang out right on the board, and before you know it, we'll be jumping them right on over there to that Weber kettle. Right, all right, there you go. Everything has been seasoned up. For those rib tips and all of those extra pieces, I start with seasoning this one up first. Start it on the bone side. Make sure that you pat it in nice and hard. Give it a second to kind of adhere, so that way you don't lose everything on your flip. And I'm outside, man. It's Arizona. We at 100 plus today. You can already see my meat is already starting to sweat out, and it's literally just got done with everything on the seasoning. So I'm gonna hurry up and get this back inside so I don't overly get this too brought up to room temperature. This ain't room temperature. This is hell temperature. It's too hot out here. So I'm gonna let this go hang out a little bit. Got this all over, like I said. Use some of that stuff on your board to clean up with some of those tips so you don't burn up all your rub. I'm gonna go ahead and get my kettle up. I'm gonna try to keep this thing down to around 250 to 275 somewhere for the day's cook, and we're gonna go ahead and get these babies on. Hey team, I wanted to jump in here real quick and let you know, if you are new to the channel, make sure that you go to that bottom right corner. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Check out some of the other cooks that you've missed, as well as everybody else. Keep on holding on. We got a big announcement coming as we are getting closer to 1,000 subs. But let's get back to this ribs. All right, as you can see, we got us a full house. Man, I tell you what, this rub is absolutely phenomenal. It's got my whole kitchen smelling great. You see, we got a full house, pretty much cooking indirect. Don't take a whole lot of coals on a hot day like this to get me at about 275. We're gonna go ahead and close this baby down. Some of those small pieces will be done early, and we're gonna put the smoke hole directly over the meat. So more or less we got that indirect pull. The mesquite chunks will be enough for us as far as flavor, so I'm not adding no wood. I'll bring you back along the way. Maybe we'll get a spritz in after a couple hours. All right, team, you see it. We rolling right along. I done got this thing dialed in to 275. It was fighting me for a minute, but let's take a peek and see what we got going. Oh yeah, we looking good. Smells great. Seeing some good looking color. Obviously them smaller pieces, you know, they're gonna be done pretty quick, so I'll probably flip those, dab away a little bit of that blood, but everything's looking pretty good. I got the fat side going towards the heat over there. I don't see nothing that really looks too bad. I'm not really worried too much about spritzing. When I do, I'm gonna come in here with a little bit of that apple cider vinegar, split 50-50 with some apple juice. Okay. About 2 hours in, slipping me a couple little coals in there that's already warm that I got going in my other grill, just so I can keep this thing burning smooth and clean and pretty much at the temp I want. My color's getting pretty good. I'm gonna yank them couple little pieces off. That'll be something for me to quickly snack on real quick, and the rest of this is gonna keep on rolling for at least another hour or so. I'm hitting it with a little bit of this spritz, nothing too heavy. Just want to make sure it's not drying out. Only one I had to rotate was that one there. Other than that, we looking good. All right, I know you probably won't get a great focus in on this little bit, but I tell you what, it's already getting a decent little color to it. This rub is amazing, and you don't need a ton of it. It's got a lot of flavor in it. Got a decent amount of salt too, whole lot of garlic, but these little niblets ain't bad. All right, team, we are back. We are at the 3 hour mark. Oh yeah. Just like I thought. See if we can get some good light on there. We got some beautiful looking color going on real quick. You can see that pullback on those bones just a little bit down there, and you can start seeing them individual bones starting to shape up through there. It usually lets you know you're about ready to go along with that color. Love that rub, great flavor. I'm about to yank these off of here, and I'm gonna get these wrapped up. Not gonna do nothing too crazy to them. Double wrap in foil. I'll add a little bit of that barbecue sauce, and then pretty much get them right back on here. With all these rib tips, I'm about to be chopping these up, and then you're gonna see them. I'll throw them in a individual container, and we're gonna throw those in the oven with some barbecue sauce, and we're gonna start letting them get nice and tenderoni. All right, there they go. These about to go face down right here on some of this sauce, and then I'll turn around and put some more on the back and wrap these puppies right back up. And here are my pieces for my rib tips. We about to chop these babies up. As you can see, I got some pretty good looking color on these things too. I got me a little sacrificial bone, a little something for me, but I'm about to chop these up. They're gonna be sliding right over here into the pan, and I'm gonna add a little bit more sauce to them, and then we'll wrap them right up and get them out of here too. Tell you what, these was worth it to bring you back just so you can see these little chunks of goodness. Like I told you, these will not be your rib tips that you are used to getting at the store. You about to get nothing but nuggets of goodness here. These is already ready to rock. I done tasted a few. We're gonna let them render a little bit, splash them with a little apple juice and some sauce. They ready to rock and roll. So I'm gonna go ahead and lock this one down. Got my nice pack of my St. Louis ready to rock. I'll toss these in my oven just for pure space that I got on my grill. These are going meat side down, back indirect for about another hour, and I'll keep it going at around that 275. Okay, we got about an hour in. These babies is looking decent. One of the first things I usually check for is to see if my package is bending a little bit. I personally want to make sure these aren't completely fall off the bone. Look at that color already. And I wanted to more or less get them where they got a little bit of bite and a little pull left. So one thing I'm looking forward to, you see that drawback on those bones up there, and when you start seeing too many of these bones coming through, that means you're pretty much gonna fall apart. So I'm glad I'm not seeing that all the way through. I'm about to lightly touch up this sauce on this side. I'm gonna lightly drop this foil down, scoot these babies back, and I'm gonna flip it directly right onto the grill. That way it'll be meat side up. I'm gonna put a little bit of color and a little bit more sauce directly on the meat side, and I'm gonna let these babies hang up for this sauce, or hang out for this sauce to set for about 15 minutes. I'll let you see what they look like, and these babies is coming off the pit. And there they go. Just like that, sitting up pretty. Nice good looking rack, get some good looking sauce on there. Love the way this sauce tastes, so I wasn't scared to put a little extra on there. I'm gonna let this set up and tack up a little bit, maybe 15-20 minutes, and then we're gonna get up out of here. All right, it's been about nice. You can see we setting up nice and easy. I'm about to get these babies up off of here and let them rest for a second, and then we can get a taste on everybody. I don't even know where to start on this. Here are our St. Louis style spare ribs, looking good. Check out these rib tips. And that's the magic right there. That's not what you're gonna get in the restaurant. Check out them chunks of meat. Let me get in there as close as I can. Got that fat good and rendered out of there, and you got real product looking at the table now. So this is what we looking like. Break that spare rib down yourself, get your own St. Louis. Got me a little Famous Dave's rub and sauce on these babies. Shouts out to them. They always got great products. But needless to say, Killer Miller style, we got it going again. I'm about to flip this thing around. We about to break down one of these bones, and I'm about to give it a taste. All right, team, we got that thing done. Took us roughly about 4.5 hours cooking that on that Weber kettle. Pretty much stuck with my mesquite lump charcoal. Stuff worked out great. I can't be too mad. We kept it roughly at about 275, kicked it up a little bit to around 300 once I got everything wrapped up. But all in all, you already see what we're working with. Came out phenomenal. I'm ready to taste it. I've already been kind of getting some taste tests in, but I have not tasted now that everything has rested and I got my sauce on here. I'm looking forward to getting myself in here. Hey, before we get too far, shouts out to my boys over there at Black Smoke Barbecue. Everybody's been following along. We almost at 1,000 subs, and I got a big announcement coming soon for my winners as we're gonna do a nice drawing to go give a little kickback to the community. With that said, let's try this rib out. Hey, let me tell you, easy bite through. You can see some of that smoke on there. These ribs is phenomenal. Exactly like I wanted. I love the bite on this sauce. Tenderoni. I'm gonna try one of these rib tips over here as these mosquitoes are about to come take me down. So tender. Nothing but meat on there. I mean, look at that. This is what you don't get at the restaurant when you get your rib tips. Thanks for hanging out. We got another one down. Killer Miller Q. We'll catch you next week. Peace.